slack on the reminding Rick about the recording. So I'm just going to blame it all on you guys and I will play victim. All right. I know y'all love that when I do that. So, okay, so here's what I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to pull up my notes and talk about them. So in Casey's talk was about something called the power of events. And it's not something that relates to selling real estate. It relates more to other parts of real estate. Like right now, I'm in a recruiting mode for team members, right? And I coach brokerages who need to recruit for the brokerage, but both brokerages I coach, the guys who own the brokerages also run a real estate sales team. So they're always talking about recruiting more people. But the one thing that came out of that talk is her use of a phrase that she learned from Tony Robbins called proximity is power. How many of you have ever heard that? So proximity is power is very related to a book that she and I recommended a lot and still do called Willpower Doesn't Work by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And Dr. Benjamin Hardy talks a lot about willpower is only as powerful as the environment that you set yourself up in. I'm letting a few people in. That you set yourself up in to create success in where your willpower is driven. In other words, if I want to lose weight and eat more healthy, then my environment won't have anything unhealthy in it. Let me read you the first sentence of something. I get this newsletter from a guy that is a lender, and I've never used him as a lender, but I love his newsletters because it always starts off with comedy. This is how this morning started off. I've been trying to eat better, buying organic and things like that. I hate when I think I'm buying organic, and when I get home, I discover they're just regular donuts. So I was like, I didn't know where the sentence was going, and I'm reading it, and the word donuts was on the second line. Just started like cracking up out loud. And it reminds me of 2017, at the end of 16, Casey and I were taking supplements and being as healthy as we could, but it wasn't really working. And we went to see a functional medicine doctor, and they did this blood panel at the first week of January of 17. And they did this whole blood panel, and they call you back in for an appointment just to go over the blood panel. And the blood panel was like 7 single-spaced pages of all these different functions going on in your body. And I'm like, God, I got over blood panels with regular doctors my whole life, and there's like maybe 2 pages. And not single-spaced, but double-spaced of this function, this function, this function. And she had yellow, green, and red all over that. So yellow, it was underperforming. Green, it was perfect. Red, it was overperforming. And what you needed to do. And then she developed a diet for us. The purpose of this functional medicine thing was to have ideal operations inside your body, blood pressure, cholesterol, all your functions, not losing weight. Losing weight is a byproduct of going on the program. All right. Now, I'm not promoting the program or anything. I know a lot of people who've seen functional medicine doctors. You can Google functional medicine doctors in your local area and you'll do fine. For people in my area, Apex Functional Medicine in Walnut Creek works really well for me. Now, she set this diet up, and fortunately, Casey and I both got a very similar diet, even though sometimes 2 people based on their insights could have 2 completely diets. We had a couple of differences on our supplements that they gave us, but the diets were pretty darn matching. And in that year, Casey lost 43 pounds and I lost 33 pounds in 2017. And I was running about like, that was my days when I used to wear double-breasted suits. So part of it would cover my stomach. But I literally went down to 163 pounds. My family literally thought I was dying. And I'm like, no, I'm just eating really well. And and then my nephew saw me in a suit at a Workman Success Systems function on stage speaking. And he took a picture of it and sent it to me. And it said underneath, eat a goddamn donut, Uncle Rick. Like, because I looked so thin. But it really was the healthiest and most energetic I ever felt. And they tell you when you're on that diet not to work out because you don't have as much energy to work out. But I felt super energetic. I was sleeping better and my blood pressure was down, my cholesterol was down. The reason I say that is the first thing they made us do is literally clean out our house of stuff. And I was going up in the middle of January to see my sister in Roseville. We literally took 13 bags of chips, Girl Scout cookies, everything, and took them to her house and dropped them off. And the only thing that was in our house was things we were allowed to eat, right? And it was great. So we were drinking celery juice, you guys know what freaking wheatgrass is? Like, we had frozen wheatgrass in ice cube form, and you would dump them in a glass and let them defrost. And, and then when they were defrosted, it tasted like you were literally eating grass blades. I'm serious, so the reason I say that is that environment changed everything, because no matter what we craved at night, there was nothing there to eat. And they monitored your fruit sugar intake because that was the only place you could get sugar. There was no other sugar allowed. And so if you wanted having something sweetened, you were only allowed to use stevia because they considered stevia a plant and it wasn't going to be against the diet. But I would have to stay under 25 grams of fruit sugar a day. That was 2 medium-sized apples. All right. And at the most I would have is 2 large-sized apples. And they said that almond butter was okay, not peanut butter. And so I would get an apple and I would put a little scoop of almond butter on every bite. And then Casey saw me doing that one day, because I mostly did it at my office in Fremont. She's like, I don't think you're supposed to be having that much almond butter. And I go, well, I'm not getting anything else, I'm crunching away. So we go to see the doctor for our next visit, and Casey tells on me. She says, how much almond butter is Rick allowed in a day? And the doctor said 2 tablespoons. She goes, well, he's having 2 tablespoons for every half of apple. So then we started buying less almond butter. It was just like, I'm talking about the things. What has this got to do with us right now in this marketplace? So I'm going to tell you. So proximity is power. What's around you? Not only what's around you, who's around you? Who is around you? Look, people who know real estate. I'm not going to put myself up there with the best or the smartest, but I got to tell you, I've been experienced in this business, 42 years, 6 recessions. Now, this is the 6th. I've got enough experience to say, I know this is the time you will build your market share. This is the time, if you're willing to tough up and skill up, you can do better than you've ever done. What do I mean by that? I talked to somebody about it yesterday, and we were talking about how, and I've said it to you guys before, but if 100 doors to get 3 leads in the past, it might take 200 doors to get 3 leads now. But here's the thing. Cleve came on to this call, Cleve Gaddis, the #1 coach over at Workman Success Systems, and he said, the river of real estate is always flowing. It is still flowing, and at a rapid pace. There's people moving to retire. There's people losing their jobs. Their loans payments are too much for them. There's divorces. There's everything you can imagine is still on, that they have to sell their house. And if they have to sell, they have to buy something else, unless they're definitely not in a position to do that. But even the people I'm selling their home for now that aren't going to buy immediately are planning on buying in the next year or 2, right? So there is opportunity to go galore out there. At the end of the day, it's you, your maker, and yourself in the mirror. That's it. Me. I'm talking mostly about me. I'm saying you, but I'm talking about me, because I am struggling with the same things, right? I got a large team. My monthly nut for my team and my business, I'll be honest with you, is $29,000. That's my business nut. That doesn't even count my personal nut. So do you think I don't go to bed thinking about my nut? Yes. All right. So what are we going to add? What else is proximity to? Your language and the language that you allow around you. Now, I like the word F. I like the F word. Okay. I'll tell you, my wife doesn't like it very much, but I just heard her yell it this morning. We're at a little VRBO Airbnb in this gorgeous room. It's in a converted old church, kind of underground. The windows are up there, and up there is street level. And the reason I say this is That's not the kind of language I'm talking about. I'm not talking about swearing. I'm talking about negativity. I use the F word for the best adjective in the world. Ask Katie. When I saw her in person last time, I go, you look amazing. She wasn't offended, believe me. Okay, but here's the thing.
I'm rarely offended, Rick.
Okay, so here's the thing. What is the language I'm talking about? I can't, I won't, negative stuff. When you call somebody, you don't say, did I catch you at a bad time? You say, did I get you at a good time? Let them tell you if it was a bad time. Don't you say it. Don't start that. Don't put that in the morning. Are you opposed to? No, that's negative. Would you be willing to? That's positive. I have to catch this in my coaching sessions. I have to catch my own language so I can be an example to them, right? How do you feel about a challenge? That's what I tell my coaching clients. How do you feel about a challenge? Instead of, would you be opposed to? No, not working for me. Okay, so all of these things are in there. So I want to go back to, there's a lady that talked yesterday, and I've known her for a long time. She is from South Africa, and she came into this business, into the Nu Skin business, because the reason I'm using this is because guess what Nu Skin is? It's a network marketing company, and it requires prospecting. You only win by prospecting. And yes, they do a lot of prospecting on social media. So maybe we could learn from that. Maybe if we talk more about the joys of our business and the positive things going on in the market, more and more people will read about it and come to us to buy or sell. Does that make sense? That's the one thing I took down from my own personal note. I'm going to talk a lot more on my Facebook page about, because right now my Facebook page, if you look at it, it's about lifestyle and motivational stuff and inspirational stuff. Nope. I'm going to be talking about, hey, folks, best market ever to buy a house, best market ever to move up from your small home to your bigger home, best market ever to do this, that, and the other. We got to do more of that. We all have some sort. Get on Instagram, get on Facebook, get on Twitter, get on Snapchat, whatever you get on. So she said this, no one knew how bad my life was because everything looked great on Facebook. I've shared that before because when I was going, like when I was teetering on the day that I might go to an attorney and file bankruptcy versus try to get the debt so I could just pay it off over a long period of time, no one knew. There's pictures of me in front of classes teaching. There's pictures of me putting up a sold sign. There's all kinds of pictures. I still run into people today who think, I had someone say it the other day, I'm so excited you met Rick. He's a millionaire. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm a millionaire. That's why I'm working my ass off every day. Thank you. Come again when we can talk less. All right. So here's the thing. She said, I was looking for something and I was at 12 o'clock. What's that mean? She goes, I'm at the place where if I found something that could be an answer to this, we already have it in our hands. We are licensed real estate agents. We have what we need. All right. Then she goes, up until then, I had just filed bankruptcy. I lived in fear financially. Once I took hold of this new opportunity, old opportunity for us, there's only a couple of people on here who haven't yet gotten their license or just have a new license, but guess what? You all have the same opportunity in front of you. She said, I lived in fear. She goes, now I have no fear. So she said, the first thing I had to realize is an identity. She said, I can go back. She grew up on a farm. Her dad was a pineapple farmer. And she said, I remember that they took us to a wedding when I was 13 years old. She said, up until then, I had no vision of what my future was going to be. When she saw the beauty around the wedding and how gorgeous the bride looked, it was the first of many weddings that she would, farmer weddings that she would go to. She said they would try to outdo themselves with the dress that the bride was wearing and stuff like that. She said, I saw my first vision of myself being married. She said, later that year, I went to my first day of high school. They have 5 years of high school there. And she said, she saw a man, and she said, a man, meaning a boy, he was 13. He was 14, she was 13. That she said, that's the guy I've got to get to like me. Little did she know that guy thought the same thing when he saw her, and they'd been married forever now. So they've been together since they were 14. But what she said is that when she saw that, she had the first vision of herself. The second experience she had with having a vision of her future life was watching her dad have a vision to build with fiberglass and brick the biggest pineapple in the world. And the biggest one in the Guinness World Book of Records was in Australia at the time. They were in South Africa, and he did it. She said he was driven by that vision. And the mother had died when she was 9, and the mother was the one that raised them. And she said very clearly that with the mother, they would be cooking and gardening and doing house chores and always have their mother, and the dad would go out to the farm. When the mom died, the dad had no idea. So the girls it was 2 girls, fishing, hunting, and driving the trucks around the farm. So the only vision they had is to see their dad's vision. Whose vision are we using right now? Look, I've been honest. I'm not a visionary. I'm not saying that like it's negative. It's not. I'm just not a visionary. But man, if I catch a vision, I'll freaking ride the wave. My first big vision was in 1993 when a man called me out of nowhere and said, Rick, we want you to run our real estate office. We have 21 of them, and the one in Fremont, where you're born and raised, and you are a successful real estate agent, is in need of a good leader. I had never had a vision of myself as a leader. Okay, someone else did. And they said, come and run our real estate office. But I was 13 years at my uncle's brokerage. My uncle had died, but his son was running it. 13 years, all the family were over there. And several of the family had scattered, gone to other companies so they could do better and get away from family. But it was the family brokerage. Every one of my family members says, don't do it. It's like herding cats. Don't do that. Don't go run a real estate office. My dad pulled me aside one day. My dad had a real estate license, but he had a full-time job with Lockheed Air and Space, and Lockheed Missiles and Space. He pulled me aside and he said, son, what's the worst that can happen if you go take that job? And I said, I don't know. I didn't think of that. He goes, well, think about it. You're here for dinner. We're here all night. Think about it. 10 minutes later, I go to my dad. I go, Dad, the worst that can happen is maybe I suck at it and I come back to work at Uncle Bill's office. He goes, and is that bad? I said, no. He goes, no, why don't you do that? Why don't you not go through life and end up saying, I wish I had versus I'm glad I did? Now, let's stop right there. That was a very big imprint on my life about hearing the words, am I going to live my life with I'm glad I did, or am I going to live my life with I wish I had? Okay, now I'm 30, almost 35 at this point, 34 years old, 35. I'm not a kid. I've got a family, I've got kids, I've got a household, I've got bills. And guess what the pay was for running that office? I didn't get any pay for running the office. I had to turn it profitable. And then once I got it profitable, I could earn 45% of the monthly profit, me personally. Like, I can do that, but I was allowed to continue selling, and I was already a top listing agent, but not the top. I'd only been in the business 13 years. And my 9th year, I did more than I did years 1 through 8 combined. So you can imagine I wasn't that great of an agent up then, right? So think about this for a minute. There's a lesson in everything we do. And I was listening to this lady speak, and I was saying I could be a better leader, right? And who was it who said, Katie said this on a call yesterday. Katie, it feels like it was so long ago. She said, a lot of people know how to sell through a recession, but very few know how to lead through a recession. I wrote it down because it was so effective for me to hear that. Like, do I actually know how to lead through this? Now, who do I have to lead first? Oh, that's right, me. See, you need to take leadership of yourself. Yeah, everybody on this call wants to help other people have a better life, but damn it, you can help them more when they see you're living that by example. Then they'll just follow what you do. All day long yesterday, until I had to get dressed up to go to the event, I had my purple shirt on that says, when at first you don't succeed, try doing what Rick told you to do the first time. I love that shirt. I don't really wear it in public much, but every once in a while I'll put it on for a Zoom. But because it reminds me how many people I've had the opportunity to talk to. We're well over 150,000 now that I've spoken to. Okay. And that's good. I'm pretty excited about that. But today it doesn't mean shit. Excuse my language. All that matters today is what I do today moving forward. That's all. And there's two guys in the whole world that when I decide how I'm going to live my life and what activities I'm going to do in the day, I have to ask myself, will Anthony and Joey look at me as an example and lead their life accordingly? And that's a big freaking responsibility. Who's your Anthony and Joey? Even if you don't have kids, and most of you do, but who is it? That was how I saw my dad be healthy his entire life till December 10th of 1997, when he was diagnosed with 4th stage small cell pancreatic cancer. He died 6 weeks later. But what I saw was a man who died peacefully. He wasn't looking around for who he needed to apologize to or what he left behind that was unhandled. It was beautiful, and it was an example. And I'm still not there at 65 years old, and my dad died at 70, but I'm getting there. I'm making my apologies. When I come across somebody in Facebook that I think something I might have said or done may have offended them, I'm not looking for a response. Hey, Tom, I don't need a response. I just want to let you know that somewhere in our past, I may have done something that may have been offensive to you. And if that's the case, I apologize. Today, I am a much bigger, better version of myself, and I'm past all of those words and behaviors. I wish you well, and no matter what happens in your life, I hope it's amazing. And that's it. I end it. I sent letters like that, like written letters in an envelope to people at their home address. Never hear back, hardly ever. Sometimes I do. But mostly I'm doing it so that when I am on my deathbed, that I will have that thing. Now, I know it's almost 9:30. I'm making a point here, and I'm going to get to it. The one thing that she said was that the way she sees herself today, and it doesn't matter the language she used because you wouldn't understand it. It has to do with Nu Skin and their compensation program. She said, I see myself as a 4-star platinum team elite. People that are 4-star platinum team elites in Nu Skin make generally 100 grand a month or more. Okay. And usually more. So the reason I say that is this is a woman who, when they started their business they had a furniture store, and they sold furniture and clothing. The payment for the rent for the building that they had their store in was so much that they had to rent out their house to pay the mortgage, and they lived in the storeroom. And she would force her husband to get up and shower in the one little bathroom in the back and be done and cleaned up before they had to open the store. So this, when she saw that vision, she said it was some of the most fun they'd ever had. It was the two of them and their 2 bulldogs before they had their daughter. And eventually that business went bankrupt, right? And she had another business that went bankrupt, a e-commerce business that went bankrupt because she believed in e-commerce at the time. But she said, once you continue, she said, when a vision is destroyed, you build another one. How does a vision get destroyed? Well, it doesn't. The things you thought would happen based on decisions you made didn't happen that way. That's a vision being destroyed. It's okay. Now get a new one. Get a new one. Like there's people on here who we are going through our things, right? I know there's a couple people on here who are part-time jobs and things like that. That's okay. Do whatever it takes to move forward in your vision, whatever it takes. Okay. Once you know your vision, guys, remember that William H. Murray poem, when a man commits, providence moves too. You look up that poem, William H. Murray, just Google William H. Murray, it'll come up. And what that means is once you're committed.
Say that again. When a man commits.
When a man commits, providence moves too. If you just put the words providence moves to in Google, TOO, it'll pop up. But what it's saying is so true. And I've had literally in the last month, I've had at least 15 conversations with people who've proven that it works. Meaning when your activities that you do are in alignment with what you're saying and thinking, the world starts giving you, the universe, God, whoever you believe in, starts giving you rewards. Business will come from over there. You didn't even expect that business from over there. Right? I'm not going to say names or anything, but there's someone on this call who I admire and respect amazingly. She's a single mom. She works her ass off. And she has been working on this client that she had that they used to be very close. And he buys and sells lots of real estate, but he never uses her. And recently she was able to get him on the phone with me, get him on a Zoom, because it was commercial real estate. It was a development, a future development. And we got on the phone and we freaking razzle dazzled the guy. He loved everything that we had to say. And she sent me a text as soon as we got off. And she said, wow, you really knew your stuff. This could be life-changing for me, couldn't it? Like, I teared up. I'm just reading a text because it will make a difference that she was willing to go through the discomfort of him treating her horribly. Like, I read the emails. And he didn't say it like this, but it was basically saying, you don't know shit, you don't deserve my business. And yet, the last time we had the opportunity and we were all set to meet, he sent me an email. He said, I was looking forward to meeting. However, the property is now under contract. I won't need you. That was a year ago. Apparently the deal died and the property is still sitting there. Anyway, the main thing is we have lessons right now that we need to lead. This is what she said after vision. She said, she said first, have a vision of what you see your life as. What am I? Right? So let's stop right there. Sherry, you're kicking it right now. You're getting coaching. You're doing all these different things. You changed your profile picture. You hadn't done that in a long time. All of these different things. So what is the vision you have that you're going for? Do you mind articulating that? If you don't want to answer, it's quite all right.
No, I don't mind answering. My vision is to create a passive income that affords me the ability to travel and spread the word of God. That's my vision, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I do have something that's a little counter to what you're saying, to be honest with you.
Okay, go ahead. I want to hear it. Yeah.
So we talk about,
it's about what works. So go ahead.
We're talking about, getting a vision and getting the passion and driving towards that thing. And I've been in searching of that thing because it's not money. So what is it? And it was on one of these calls not too long ago, and I don't know who said it, so I can't give credit, but two things drive you: either the passion that you're going to something or fear of what you're running from. And I have to tell you, like you, I woke up in the middle of the night scared to death that I was going to end up like I did in 2013, which was essentially a single mom, homeless, trying to figure out which ends up. Just crazy fear drove me, which drove my business. I moved from one state to another state, reached into that fear bucket, and it drove me every day. And so I made myself a note that I read every morning to myself that says, I can be broke and homeless again. Look up and love the Lord and be humble. And that drives me every day now, because it's not that I'm looking towards something like I need or want something, because it's not there. But the fear that I can end up back there has lit my fire. And I'll tell you, in the 2 weeks that I've been working on this, I mean, I've recruited, not even the guy I wanted you to meet, Rick. It was totally out of the blue. I was chasing this guy, and this guy comes through the door and goes, okay, where do I do? Sit down, sign up. Okay, here we go. So it was kind of, you're right, but there's different forces that work with you.
Good for you. It works, right, for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is it's not what's right, it's what works. Nothing I say has to be good, bad, right, or wrong. It has to work. Katie, I'm going to call on you on 1 second, but I wanted to say something, Sherry, from the notes from the talk yesterday. It's very possible, it says, it's very possible that you would be the first person to do this business, meaning in their family. But it's very, what the message I heard in there is it's very possible that there will be people around you who don't believe in your vision or think you're crazy So they will be what we call dream killers. Okay. So think about this. You know, the single mom I just talked to you about, and all of those people out there who say, from such humble beginnings, how will I ever get there? Well, first you have to have a vision. You have to see yourself there, and then slowly but surely you move in that direction. I have the next point I want to make, but I want to stop and see what Katie had to say.
Can I bump in there for just a second on that
Yeah.
fear thing?
Go ahead.
Not that it's a negative, because like I said, I was divorced, broke. My motivation in there is I wrote my ex-husband a check for $10,000 because he told me I would never survive in this business. He shut it down every chance he got. I wrote him a $10,000 check and taped it on my mirror, on my lamp at my desk. And I told myself that if I didn't meet my goal, that I would send that check along with a note that says, I'm really sorry, I am a screw up. Here's the money, have a nice day. I never sent that check, and I have never looked back.
And now,
So-
now money's not a motivation anymore, is it?
No, it is not.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, Katie.
I was just gonna say that the vision thing, I think sometimes is hard. And I just wanted to share September. So 10 months ago, we were on one of these free Friday coaching calls. And you were talking about vision and creating that vision as we were heading towards the fourth quarter of 2021. And I had just moved to Hawaii, was sitting where I am now on my lanai looking over the Pacific Ocean. And I had a day job and a side gig. And I decided, and you had said, I said, sometimes it's like walking into Home Depot and you don't know of all the options out there. What is my vision? And you said, and I want to reiterate this for anybody who didn't get it, is maybe it's just the next thing, not the big grand vision, but what's the next step in the vision. And as I was sitting out here, I'm like, I need to be running my own business. I want to be responsible for my schedule, what I'm doing when I want to do it, and not have a boss. And January 1, I quit my job, and I'm still a little bit of building the airplane in the air, and I'm still working out my real clear, super clear vision of my business. But I think it's sometimes it was very empowering for me. And so I want to share this with everybody else. So the next step was just, I want to be in charge of my own calendar, and I'm going to figure it out. And if I do the right activities, the right results will follow. And they have every single day. It's also one of my affirmations is I'm an opportunity magnet. I say it every single day. And so I just want to say, if anybody's struggling with vision, and maybe can't get to the big vision because it feels a little overwhelming, what's the next step? What's that first next step? So I just want to share that every once in a while I listen to you, Rick. I do what you say. So thank you.
Well, and I remember that conversation when you started, and you just said the Home Depot thing. That reminded me of when you said it. And that is like, to me, when I get overwhelmed, I just say, okay, what will I do today that will be a dollar productive activity for me, right? And guys, for most of you, Katie's a coach. She doesn't sell real estate, but she coaches real estate agents and mortgage people and brokerages and owners of mortgage companies. So she has a lot of tools in her tool belt, and we all do, but which ones are we using, right? I remember listening to my wife, Casey, coaching somebody that was a real estate agent who had done a really big health journey, had done some personal development work that we had, PSI seminars. So she was a real estate agent. She had cancer twice and beat it. So she'd been on a health journey and understand health. She'd gone through PSI seminars with her mindset, understand who she is as a human. And she had New Skin, which was another business she was doing to earn income. And so I heard Casey, overheard Casey coaching. Her name's Beth Bowles, and she'll be on the ramp call probably at 10. And I heard her say to Beth, have conversations with people about them. And when you hear what they have to say, decide which of your tools they most need right now. They may not be interested in buying any of your New Skin products. They may not be interested in buying or selling real estate, but maybe they're having a rough life and their relationship isn't really good. And you could suggest that they take a PSI seminars course. Or maybe their health isn't good and you can introduce them to a New Skin product that will help that health thing, but also share your journey through cancer and how you beat it twice. And guess what happened? Over 100 conversations in the next 2 months, She listed and sold 6 homes and brought 4 people into her Nu Skin business. And not once was the call of an agenda to bring up either Nu Skin or real estate. Shit happens, good shit. So, all right. Now, there is something that she went on to next. The next word she came on to was sacrifice. There will be sacrifice. I think about the single mother on the call that I told you about, that she's busting her ass on a weird schedule. I think it's 3 to midnight or something, or maybe even later into the middle of the night. And I remember 1980 to 1988 having 4 or 5 of those years working 100 hours a week or more, having 2 jobs plus real estate, and at one point 3 jobs plus real estate. All right. So I was committed to being able to make a living just with real estate after I got rejected by 13 dental schools, right? I wanted to be a dentist. I'm no longer now being a dentist. My other wish was to be a car mechanic, but I thought, how cool is it to come home every night with dirty fingernails, right? That's what stopped me from being a car mechanic. Who knew? Anyway, but then she said, you have to have belief in. That's what she put in, and she stopped. Belief in. And she says, what's going to be? Is it going to be belief in yourself, belief in the system, belief in somebody who can give you the tools so that you can succeed at what you're doing? What do you have belief in? Right? A lot of us on this call are God first, right? Okay, I am definitely one of those people. I believe in God. Doesn't mean you're right or wrong for doing or not doing that. I have a belief in God, and I have a belief in my faith, not just faith in my religion or my belief in God, but faith meaning I believe things will happen that I cannot see or understand how they will happen now. That's faith, right? Faith is darkness and you believe there's light there, right? That's my impression of it. So I've got a lot of faith, but I've got a lot of gratitude. I've got gratitude for all the pain and the failures. I love that Katie had posted, and there's some of you guys posted some good stuff in the chat today. I think her 18-year-old son, who's very successful in baseball right now, said, what is it? I'd rather have failure than regret, right? At least that meant you were doing something on the direction. I do know that my failures are what got me here today. I know that without a doubt, that without those failures, I would not be here today. Okay, because those were the lessons. And think about this, the challenge that you say you want to take on for yourself, the bigger it is, the bigger the challenge is to keep you from having that. It's the way the world works, right? And I know somebody who believes that the challenges are the devil, and I don't. I believe it's God strengthening you to be prepared for what you're dreaming of. That's why people say that stupid thing, be careful what you wish for. Why do they say that? Because sometimes when you get what you wish for, it's bigger and huger than you ever imagined. You go, it brings a whole new set of problems. Yes, but that's why you had the challenges along the way, because that new set of problems you can handle because of the lessons you learn. All right, I'm going to go quickly now. This is the best one. Take full responsibility. Take full responsibility. What am I supposed to do next in my responsible role as the chief executive officer of my vision? She said it. We lived in a storeroom. We were sacrificing, right? We wanted to send our daughter to the best school. We were sacrificing. And the problem was my daughter was at a school where everybody else was wealthy. We were just getting by. We were scraping to get her to go to that beautiful private school. But guess what she got? The daughter got a vision from being around people like that, right? Her environment. The daughter is here with them at 13 years old at this thing because she sees herself following her mom's footsteps. Well, in South Africa, you just have to be 18 to do this. So she's only 5 years away, right? So a lot of good things there. Anyway, so the most important thing that I wanted to stress on you today is that we have to be leaders of ourselves first. Look, guys, come on. I've said it a million times. Lead yourself through this. In fact, the people that survive through this are the ones that can survive for anything going forward. And why do I say that? Because you've all heard my story. Between 2007 and 2011, those 4 years, it was the end of 7 to about the middle of 2011. So that's, what is that? That's almost 5 years, but four years. I lost everything. And through it, I learned about my ability to be really good at selling houses. And that Saturday morning, living in the skanky little apartment that the girls I was dating didn't even want to come to, really. When the light hit the room, it was about 6:30 that I could see. I opened my eyes and I didn't want to get out of bed. But that was the day. I'll never forget that Saturday because I forced myself to get up and go door knocking that day. My team had disbanded completely. I had nothing pending, no actives, no buyers, no sellers. That's what you call broke in the real estate business, right? So I got up and went door knocking. When one commits, Providence moves too. During my door knocking, I picked up a really good listing lead that was in a hurry. I picked up 2 other listing leads that were 6 months to a year out, but I picked up 1 lead that was in a hurry. All right. On my way back to my apartment and my office, I listened to my voicemail, and there was a client on there who I hadn't talked to in ages who said, Rick, we got to sell our house in Fremont and buy a house in Danville. That was that one day. And I said to myself, everything's going to be all right, because I know what to do to handle going forward. I still hadn't have all the solutions for the 1.4 million in debt that I was carrying or the 440 credit score, but I knew that going forward, I would know how to sell real estate. I know how to sell real estate. What do you know? Go do more of what you know. And if you don't know what the next step is, well, then look at all these people on here. These are all your resources. Text them, Google them. I don't care. Yeah. So my final message to you is this. What is the environment that you're going to surround yourself with now going forward? I know, like I look at Sherry, I love Sherry. Her and I are very close. She's surrounding herself with more coaches. She's getting on these calls. She's doing she's doing proactive things to move her business forward so that whatever she decides that vision, she said, I'm not even sure what the vision is, but I just know that's the direction I'm going. That's okay, right? The worst thing you can do is hear anybody speak, me or anybody else, and say, I'm less than because of that. No, find the nugget you'll use and move on. Doesn't make you less than. It makes you a learning-based individual. That's what I'm looking to surround myself with, learning-based individuals. Okay? So here we go. Today is July 15th. We're 15 days into the second half of the year, which means we have 5.5 months left. Can you make a difference in 5.5 months? Yes, you can. You can make a difference in the next 15 days. Just do some things, right? Hold vacant open houses all day, even if they're not your listing. Just get in there at 9 o'clock in the morning and stay there all day. Put up balloons, knock on doors before you go, whatever you got to do, something will happen because you're committed. Make calls, talk to people about them, not you. All right? Go do it. Today's the day. All right? So our next call, does anybody have a calendar in front of them? I believe it is August 5th. Is that right? The first Friday in August? Okay. It's about 3 weeks away. Is it the 5th, Sherry? Katie, you looked it up? Somebody give me a thumbs up for sure. Okay. So Friday, August 5th is our next call. Sorry you didn't get the email, but we still had a really good turnout. And I know a lot of people watched the recording either way. So let's do this. I'll get the email out early that week. Okay. The first, I think it's August 1st, Monday, August 1st. And we'll be back. But I want to hear some of the results you've gotten by taking what we talked about today and using it. But we're most likely going to have a guest speaker, and I will see you on the 5th. God bless you all and be amazing. Take care.
Thanks, Rick. Have a great day.
Oh, Michelle, bye, honey. See you soon.